Greetings. This is Positivologist Lynette Turner, and welcome to the Positivologist in the House. Grab a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, have a seat in your favorite chair, your favorite couch, and join me. As a positivologist, I work with individuals and groups of people to help you chart the most positive, productive, and proactive life possible. I am a positivity life coach, a certified dream teacher with the Robert Moss School of Active Dreaming, a certified angel speak facilitator, a Reiki practitioner, and sound healer. And I'm an ordained interfaith, interspiritual minister. So I'm here to serve you in a whole variety of ways, and I'm pleased and happy to be able to do so. You can reach out to me by way of my website, which is www.positivebliss.com. And while there, I encourage you to sign up for my free weekly positivity message. We could all use a little positivity now and then. And if you've already signed up, feel free to invite your friends to do so as well. So as we go through this life, we have challenges and issues. It would be wonderful if we could sail through every day with no problems, but that's not the case. And sometimes these challenges seem to drop out of thin air into our laps, and we don't always have control over them. But what we do have control over is the attitude we take as we deal with these issues and problems. And every day when you wake up, you can decide whether you're going to walk through the day with a positive attitude or a negative attitude. And I strongly encourage you to pick the positive route. It will help you be energized, it will help you be focused, and it will help you be able to deal with whatever those challenges are and to truly enjoy all the good things and the joy that happens in your life as well. So I wanted to have a TV show which would allow me to explore topics that can help us all have a positive life and have a focused, engaged, and light-filled energy as we walk through our day. And so I am always thrilled when I'm able to find amazing and incredible guests to come on the show and share their expertise and their life experiences on a wide range of topics which are intriguing and fun and from which we can learn something from. And so tonight I am thrilled to have Carol Matthews as my guest. And Carol and I have known each other for a long time, even though we haven't met because she's in Canada and I'm here in the United States. And she has a successful radio show that she's had for many years, and I've been quite honored to be a guest on her radio show many times. So I'm very pleased to be able to have her on my show. And Carol is, among many, many gifts, she is a medium. And she's going to talk to us about what that means to be a medium. And isn't that fascinating? You know, this idea of being able to connect with the spirit, the energy of those who have crossed over to the other side, or as I often say, have graduated over to the other side. So after we've learned all we have to learn here on the earth plane, and we've taught all we have to teach here on the earth plane, I believe we go to this incredible, amazing place of light and bliss and peace and joy and no pain. And to be able to connect with spirits who are on the other side, I think is amazing. So I'm extremely excited that we're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about the Chinese New Year because she has quite a bit of expertise on that topic as well. So Carol, welcome to the show.
Hi there. It's really, really funny to be sitting here and looking at you and talking to you because all of these, we've always talked on the phone when you've been a guest on my show, and now here I am looking at you. It's like,
right. It seems like we're close, even if we're a bit far away geographically. Our heart space is close, connected.
That's right, and we have got to thank technology for allowing this to happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Carol, what I'd like to do before we dive into the questions and talk about the topics is I'm going to turn it over to you, and I want you to just tell our viewers about yourself. Tell us all the amazing, wonderful things that you do. Don't hold anything back so they have some context for our conversation, and also tell them how they can reach out and contact you as well.
Well, you know, I think that one of the most interesting or the most difficult things to do is to write your own bio, or to talk about yourself, you know, and what you do, especially when you do something like I do, because it just comes so naturally that I don't put labels on it or anything like that. It's just me, and I have been like this since I would say 3 years old. 6 years old sounds more believable. But I have always seen things happen in my life, things that nobody else saw, and it was very, very interesting. And I consider it a gift. And when at the very beginning, well, at the very beginning, but what I did was I did all the normal stuff. I used to see things when I was a child, which we'll get into. And then I did the normal stuff. I got married. I had 3 children, and then I was an executive secretary at the top of one of the tallest buildings in Toronto. And I decided that I'd had it with that. It was too much. So I was going to go up to my cottage, and I was just going to work, do filing or something at a newspaper office, nothing to do with being psychic. And one day, March the 7th, 1979, no, I'll never forget it, I was on my way to get some boxes to pack and go up to the cottage, take my daughter up with me, one of my children, and a car came out of nowhere, and I will say literally made a wrong turn, literally turned my life around. And literally. And I could no longer work, of course, and type and do all that, let alone travel. The cottage was gone now, the idea anyway. So a very dear friend of mine, he was a tarot card reader named Peter, and he used to always do my cards. And he called me one day, and I was like, I couldn't work. So he said, why don't you come down and work at the tea room where I am? And I said, oh, I can't do that. No, I can't do it. I can't use it this way. First of all, I didn't feel that confident because I really didn't know what I had, all right? So the bank manager finally told me, you can't live on love. So guess what? I went to the tea room, and the rest is history. But every day I see different things. People always ask me, can you turn this off? I like people to think that you can, because people have a tendency to feel a little bit intimidated when they meet you. But I have a good sense of humor. Let's put it that way. A very good sense of humor, thank heavens. And that helps. That helps a lot. But I have been doing private consultations. I do not do psychic fairs. Or shopping malls or anything like that. I prefer to keep it private. And that's what I've been doing all of my life. It started professionally, I'm going to say I started right after the accident, 1980, let's say 1980, and we won't do the math. Okay? Okay.
Age is just a number.
Oh, no kidding. I have been doing this for a long time. And my life growing up was, I'm sure everybody has seen the movie The Sixth Sense with that little boy. Well, my life was like that, but without the Hollywood. I didn't see people hanging from the rafters, And I would even down to the part, actually at one point, one of our house, there were 7 children. I was the oldest, and I still am the oldest. And our house was written up in one of the ghost magazines, one of the ghost books. People came up to look at it because different things, just as in that movie, with cupboards opening up, etc. Wow. So that was my life growing up.
That's amazing, Carol. Well, I want to, do you have a website, or tell people how they can reach you? We'll do it again at the end, but I want to make sure they can reach out to you.
Okay, it's Carol Matthews, intuitive.com. And I always have to say E on Carol and 2 T's in Matthews. Yep. So Carol Matthews, intuitive.com. It's a very user-friendly page. I'm very proud of it.
Yes, it is. I can say that. It's a wonderful page. So, Carol, tell the viewers, what is a medium? If someone asked you to describe it, and is it the same as being a psychic? Are they the same? Are they different? Do people have different opinions? What's your description of a medium and a psychic?
Well, my feeling is the one word that I steer away from is fortune teller, as you can well imagine. So, to me, a psychic is somebody that sees things, they feel things, they hear things, and they can help you with things that are going on in your future, events. A medium, to me, is simply, and I like to keep it simple, the middle person between yourself and people that have passed away. So that, to me, is a medium. Now, not all psychics are mediums, and not all mediums are psychic. So there are just some people that you will just go to, and you will just get well, not just get, you will get messages from people that have passed away. And then there's me, where I seem to do it all right? And I just, it all comes to me in different ways. I'll just give you, just to go back to my childhood, when I was in school and we had a bus, we lived in a small town, Keswick, Ontario, and I came home from school, I got off the school bus, and of course, like every child, headed straight for the refrigerator. and there was my mother's friend was sitting in the living room with her, and her name was honestly Mrs. Jones, honestly. And I know. And so when I went on my way to the refrigerator for a sandwich, I looked at Mrs. Jones and I said, "Oh, you have a cast on your leg. What'd you do?" But I just kept going because the peanut butter and jam was more important. So when I came back in the room, sandwich in hand, my mother and Mrs. Jones were both looking at me like, "What did you just mean? What you just?" And I looked down, and there was no cast on her leg. The next day, there was a cast on her leg. She broke her leg. So that's how I see things. Like, I don't go looking for them. I see it, and it's been like that all my life.
So, Carol, how were your siblings and your family? How did they take this when you first started? I mean, when you first realized that this was happening to you, you were so young. Were you able to articulate in words what it was, or it was just a knowing or a feeling? Or?
Well, it was really, really very hard. You said to tell it all. When I was 10 years old, I was seeing so much of everything that was going on around people. I'd had one, for example, I headed down to the store, which was next to a river and a bridge, and I went in to get some, let's say, milk. I don't really know what I was going down there for, but when I went down, a car went over the bridge. I ran back home and told my mom and dad. They called the police. And guess what? There was no car over the bridge, but we know what happened, don't we? The next day, the car went over the bridge. So that was like examples of things that I would see, and I was carrying all of this around with me. And so when I was 10 years old, I was just sitting in the living room, and all of a sudden, everything just went numb. And long story short, the doctor came to the house back in those days, and he was putting needles in my feet. And I wasn't feeling anything. So they thought that I had spinal meningitis. They rushed me to the hospital. And what it turned out was that I had, and I'm going to say the words nervous breakdown, but it wasn't a mental nervous breakdown. It was a tired breakdown of my body, my energy, of just finally seeing too much. So I just went numb. And it took a little bit, and I came out of it, of course. But that was pretty rough.
So it's probably sort of a protective mode to sort of, protect yourself from, yeah.
Yeah, it was difficult, but I had to keep it in. Now my father was very intuitive, called him psychic, and he would see things, but he wouldn't talk about it, and it really bothered him a lot. And we didn't talk about it very much, but I always knew that I had something, and he knew that I had something, but you didn't talk about it back then. I mean, do the math.
Yeah.
A long time ago,
I was just going to ask you if it's like inherited, or if you think it might run in families or anything like that.
Well, my father was psychic, and my mother's mother, my grandma Kenyon, she read tea leaves.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't know any of that back then. What were tea leaves? Like, again, that was quite a while ago. And I just didn't know. And so I tried to just go on my daily life and see things. And, of course, I would say things to my sisters, who are all younger than me, and my brothers, and they would just look at me like, yeah, okay. And they'd turn the TV a little bit louder. So then I had to, and we did have TV back in those days, and then I had to learn, and this is why also the 10-year-old thing happened. This is why I had to keep everything in.
Yeah. Yeah, so I suppose it was very rewarding when you finally, at some point in your life, connected with other like-minded people, so that, I know for me it's great to be with other people where there's nothing I can say that they're going to say, that couldn't have happened, you're making that up, you're crazy. I don't consider myself a medium, although spirit energy does come through sometimes, but I am psychic, and I give my mother messages, and she would joke and say that her mother was psychic, and I'm psychic, but she's a little bit scared of things, so she said they know not to come to me because I just have a heart attack if they came to me. So they skipped a generation. My grandmother, me, not my mom.
Well, it's interesting too because sometimes, let's just say out of the blue, like you're going home tonight, so I'm going to say to you, call me when you get home, and what you're going to say is, why? What's the matter? Am I going to be okay? Am I going to be able to drive? Right. Or if you say a simple thing like right now here, if I say to somebody, drive safe, they say, maybe I shouldn't get in the car.
Right.
So yeah, that's
how people interpret it. So, Carol, can people learn or be trained to be a medium, or you just either have the gift or you don't?
That's a hard one to answer, because myself, it just came naturally. As I said, I woke up with it. But and that's really what I did, I guess, when you think about it. But many people will go and they will take courses. And so, yes, I do believe if you're open, and the main thing is if you're going to do it, if you do it with integrity, then it's going to be good.
Right, right.
That's very, very, very important.
Yeah, I would think that would be key. So,
Yes, and also, sorry,
no, go ahead.
go to, like, what I suggest is just don't. I'm going to say it. Just don't look in the yellow pages and classes to be a medium. Don't do that. I suggest, it's only my suggestion and my belief. Really, word of mouth. To me, word of mouth is great. And if there are some workshops or anything like that, then look into the workshops after you've talked to somebody. And you would do the same thing.
Absolutely. And we have instincts for a reason, right? So, often
Definitely.
people don't trust their instincts, which I'm always encouraging people to do, but your instincts can tell you if you're sort of headed in the right direction or not.
Well, listening to our inner voice is very, very important, but it's not always easy to do.
It's like, it gets better with practice, right? That's what I've learned.
Oh, definitely. Yes, when people say to me, how can I tell if I've got this gift? And I say, okay, fine. You're sitting at home and you all of a sudden start to think about somebody and the phone rings. Okay? So then you pick it up and it's that person. So keep a journal or just a little notepad of things that happen that are dreams that you have. You know what I'm talking about there, Lynette. And yes, and just journal it. And then after you've seen good, like this happened, that happened, you will start to believe it even more, no matter what other people say. That's the whole thing.
I think it's also trusting if people say, like, people might come to me for an angel reading or to work with their dreams, and they'll say, I thought I saw my mother or my grandmother or some loved one or family friend, and it's like they were sitting at the edge of my bed or they were standing there, but that couldn't be true. Well, we can really appreciate that we are connected beyond our senses of the earthbound. I have to see it or feel it or touch it or smell it to know that it's real, and to know that beyond that and this whole other vibration, there's a whole other world which is just as real as the one we're in now.
Oh, definitely. And I do believe, as you do, that our I call them guardian angels. I don't call them spirit. I don't call them dead, okay? And people that have passed away that I contact, that's what I call them. And I do believe they come to us in dreams. As a matter of fact, I call them visits. And I know you would too. I think you would. They're visits. They're not just dreams. And the bed going down at the side, everything like that is wonderful. When you believe.
When you believe, when you're open-minded, open-hearted, and you believe. And if we remember that we're divinely guided when we are open that way, right? We're divinely guided.
Exactly. That's why I say do it with integrity.
So, Carol, as an adult, has there been a time where you wanted to turn this gift off, or have you completely learned how to work with it and connect with it, and so now it's all fine?
What day is it? There are some days where I really, I never say, you got to be very careful what you ask for. So I never say, I want to turn this off. I just say, you have to teach yourself, which has taken me a long time, you have to teach yourself to just be, and take it in, and don't take all these things that are happening personally. Rest, pace yourself. I've had to learn that, and really, it's been a long time coming, because we never do.
No, it's always a learning process.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
So, Carol, when people come to you, what are the type of things they want to know or they ask you in terms of connecting with those on the other side, the angels on the other side?
Well, it's angels, it's people. People, and fortunately, I have to say, I don't advertise, so it's word of mouth. So when somebody has lost somebody, I just received an email saying we just lost somebody and we would like my mother to come and see you. So of course we make the appointment, and the one word that most people use, and I think, I don't really like that word, is closure. Because I don't myself, Carol, I do not believe that we ever do get total closure. But just for people to know that our guardian angels, their guardian angels, their loved one, the one that passed away, is all right, is okay. And I mean, when I started seeing people around people, and when I was a young child, and all of that, and I thought, what's going on? And I thought, should I be doing this? What is it? You know, like, what is it? Am I wrong, or, you know, what's happening to me? So after a while, I decided, okay, I can do this. And my father came to me, actually. My dad passed in 74. My dad came to me in a wonderful way, and I thought, okay, if it's a long story, so I'm not going to do it, but I thought, all right, if my dad can come through with information like that nobody would know, this was through a medium, I thought, I walked out of that office saying, okay, you know, I can definitely do this. This is right. My dad said so, you know, like that kind of thing, you know. So again, when people come, they want to know, and what quite often when you go for reading, the person will give you an initial. They'll say you have a Y name or a name with a Y around you. Well, you know that when you leave, you're able to fit many names into Y. With me, and it's never, they do not, well, I don't want the initials. They give me the full names. And I hear the full name, and I will say it to the person. A lot of this comes out of my handwriting also. And something that happens with me, and I still don't know how, but I say, thank God, I feel the symptoms that the person had, the one that's passed away.
Yeah.
So if somebody's had angina, my hand goes to my heart. And I always put my hand where it is so that my client knows that this is what I'm feeling. And I don't allow, and the other thing I do, I don't allow you to ask questions because I could feed off what you ask. So I just go with it. And when they start to give me names of their loved one, the people that are their neighbor, or the name of their dog that just passed away, I'm just giving you examples. When the people that have passed away give me spirit, we'll use spirit in this case, give me this information, that is the only way that I know that they're okay. I can't prove they're okay, and you know, like you'll see many people will say, your mother is happy and she wants you to be happy. Well, Lynette, I've never had somebody come to me and come through and say I'm miserable and I want you to be miserable.
Right.
You know? Never.
Right. So you haven't had messages come through
never
where you didn't really want to pass it on. The messages are always about light and love and being helpful and that sort of thing versus...
That's right. And there are so many people, you know, like a widow, and she's wondering about selling her house. She'll come to see me. I don't know that her husband's passed. Nobody tells me or my secretary anything. And I will say, you know, you have a house that you need to move on from, and da-da-da-da. And they say, well, that was one of my questions. And quite often, the thing that makes me very happy is that my clients will say to me, I asked my father to be with me today when I was in the car on my way here. I asked my mother, and that makes me so happy. And then the best thing anybody, and you know yourself, the best thing anybody can say to you when they're leaving you is, I feel so much better having been here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then you know you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, well, you have discovered your purpose in life. I mean, I think, as you'll agree,
Yes.
we're here to be of service. We're here to help other people, and what a wonderful thing when you figure that out. Because I'm sure you've encountered, as have I, some people who just they're not quite sure. You know, they know they're here to do something, and there's some way they're supposed to serve, but they're not sure what it is. And you know, I think if you hang in there, people figure it out. But I know I feel so blessed and appreciative that I do know what that is, and as do you.
Oh yeah. And you know what I find too is, you know, when you said about shutting it off and that, try to walk away from it. No. No. The universe is not going to let you walk away from it.
Not gonna
for
happen.
sure. So it may give you a few days off, but no, you can't go and get, no such word as can't, but to go and get another profession, no, not going to happen.
Not gonna happen.
No.
So Karen, have you ever been out and encountered somebody who maybe you didn't even know, but some message comes through for that person?
Yes, I have. And that's where you have to be really, really tactful. You know, to walk up to somebody in a grocery store and start telling them that they're a deceased husband, no. I believe, and it has happened, But like for instance, when I do a talk, when I'm talking to a lot of people, and I always say when I'm doing this talk, an interactive afternoon or something, I will say, now I want you all to know that I am going to be looking around at everybody. It looks like I'm being shifty, but I'm not, because it's happened that if I look at one person for a certain amount of time, that person will come up to me after the talk and say, you looked at me for a long time. Is there something happening? So I say, so therefore, I'm going to be all over this room, and this is how I explain it to them. Now, and I do see things when I'm doing that, okay? If I'm supposed to give a message, or if I bump into somebody in a grocery store and I see something or I feel something, I trust that I am going to see that person again. And that person is going to say to me, I went to that talk that you were at and I saw you looking at me, and I'll say, I'm very glad that you came up to me because there's something I have to tell you. And that's the way I do it. I know you could do it in different ways, but no, that's the way that I do it. And it feels good.
Yeah, sure. So Carol, tell me, if you're doing a talk, so there's a number of people there, do you ever have these beautiful angel spirits, energies all coming through at once? They all want to get your attention and get the message out. How do you sort of discern where to turn your attention and who to give the messages to? I take it you're guided in some way.
Well, you are guided, and I did a talk, and I wasn't really going to go into being the medium part with this talk. It was more about what I do and crystals and auras and chakras. That's how it started out. And to this day, I have not seen, I'll never forget this, there was about 300 people, and all of a sudden I said a name, a woman's name, I'll just say it was Elizabeth, and I said, oh, and of course I had to do it with humor because it hit me, and I went, oh, it's happening, here we go, who's Elizabeth? and this man, and again, he never stood up, his name was David, and Elizabeth was his mother. She passed away. So then I said, well, your mother is around you. And then I thought, all right, I'm going to continue on and going to talk about the other topics. And then I went, oh, here we go. David, what are you doing with the da-da? And Elizabeth was there, so strong. And then I thought, all right, now Elizabeth's here. Why haven't a lot of other people come up to me? And then people are not come up to me, come to me, because I had said that day when I went in that I wasn't going to do it. Because sometimes you can get people really upset in a situation like that.
Sure.
Like when you go to house parties, which I don't do anymore. When you go to house parties and, to me that's a very personal thing. That's just me. It's just me. But anyway, as it turned out, a few people came up to me after, in real life people, came up to me after the talk and they said, I could feel my mother sitting next to me while you were talking. I'm just so glad, though, that you didn't pick her out because it would have upset me. And I just stood there and said, aha, thank you. I listened to my inner voice.
Yeah,
and I wasn't supposed to do it. But if they're there, I've heard of some people, some mediums, that there will be different areas that you go and sit in. I've never been to one like this, but I've heard that there's areas that you can sit in, and those are the areas where the people passed on will come through. Sorry, that's not the way it works. Because I've seen it, okay? The person, they can be how many rows back, spirit, around that person, and they're going to get your attention. If it's meant to be, it's going to be.
Interesting.
That's my belief.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So do you think that when someone crosses over to the other side, I've heard this, that sometimes they have to be over there for a certain amount of time until they're accustomed to have enough energy or vibration to actually be able to connect with you in order to pass the message on? Do you think that's true, or does it just depend? Or
I did think that. I mean, every day is different. And just recently, when I was back in Ontario, I had a client. Now, if that person had told me what they were coming for, which I don't let them, but if they had, I would have said, why don't you just wait a little while? But what happened, it was a sister. She wanted to bring her brother to me because they had lost, she didn't tell me this all evolved, they had lost a cousin. And this man came in, he was quite a skeptic when he sat down, but I appreciate skeptics. And I let the lady be in the room with us, his sister, because he was nervous. And It had been. I started talking about this man who had passed, and it was a accident, and I described how it happened and everything. And the man had passed 3 days before.
Wow.
Now that really, like as I said, every day is different. But
Right.
now if they had have said to me, my cousin died 3 days ago, I would have said, I think if you don't mind, you should wait at least a month. But I
Yeah.
didn't get the opportunity to say that, and he came through anyway. So
He
that was a
clearly he
day.
was meant to, and he wanted to. He had something to say.
Exactly, and it was a day before I was leaving to go to Prince Edward Island, and I really wasn't going to be seeing anybody. But I said to her, all right, come up. I'm packed, so I'm ready to go. I was supposed to do it. Definitely supposed to do it.
Hmm.
So a very, very strong spirit.
Yes, yes, with something important to say. So, Carol, do
Definitely.
adults ever bring young children with them to these readings? Are children, sometimes you hear children are really open to this. You hear about when we're kids, and you'll hear kids say, "Oh, Mom, there's an angel over there. Or, Uncle Joe is
Hmm.
over there." And so often as adults, we're like,
I
don't
know.
daydream or don't make that up. I think it's the kids that I know whose parents nurtured that have turned out to be just amazing human beings, because you're so open. So have you had any experiences with that?
I have, and I have asked the parent to be there with the child. The child really doesn't know why they're there. It's just I just say, well, come on over for tea. I don't drink tea, but let's come over for coffee,
Hmm.
and then we will let me see what I feel because I don't want to go in on this child unless this child is ready. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
And then I will just start asking questions, and they'll see that I have some angel statues, and I'll just say, "Do you believe in angels?" And then it all comes out.
Yeah.
But I don't really. I prefer not to read for anybody under 16.
Hmm.
But I have done it when the parent have asked me, but I prefer not to.
Right, right.
But I will.
Okay. Yep. So, Carol, what are a couple? Can you share a couple of the most interesting or profound messages you've shared from the other side, or experiences you've had with people?
I think okay, there there's been many, but the most profound, and I sort of I can still feel it. I got a phone call from a lady from friends of a lady whose brother had gone missing. Okay, an older man. Well, not older. He was about 40, and he came to me. And once somebody approaches you like that, you're on it 24/7. You just don't stop thinking about it, right? And he came to me in a dream and told me where he was. And he
Wow.
had, yeah, and yeah, and it still gets me to this day. And it wasn't that long ago, 3 years ago now. And in that dream, he was in water. Okay, he was in water in a
Hmm.
car, and I was going through, trying to get through the car, because he was telling me where the car was. I was trying to get in through the mud in the car. I could see it, everything. I could see it just so clearly. That to me,
Wow.
the flaky expression is that blew me away, but
Yeah.
that blew me away. And but thank him and everybody because everybody that was involved in it because it helped to find him.
Right.
You
Right.
know, and but that was as you can tell, I still get a bit about it. But yeah, and I had a lady. Now again, I feel the pain. There was a lady that came to see me and her son had fallen off a boat, 17, fallen off a boat and drowned. And of course, her big thing when you say, what do people want to know, is did he suffer? Was he okay? Now, I feel the symptoms. Now, if somebody has drowned, or my lungs will go, you have to see it to believe it, but my lungs will start to almost fill up and I start to cough.
Hmm.
But I was not feeling that with this boy. Now, I did not know he'd fallen out of a boat. She just told me he'd passed away, okay?
Right.
Because I won't let you give me any information. But I started feeling a pain right up in my head, and it was a bad pain. And then I said to her, and I said, I cannot prove this to you because I don't act like I know it all. I said, I cannot prove this to you, but he is telling me that he bumped his head first. So he actually didn't drown. He died of the bang on the head.
Head,
And
yeah.
then I said to her, what happened? And she said, well, she said he fell out of a boat. I said, well, he's telling me that he hit his head.
Oh,
So she felt so much better,
yeah,
you
that
know.
just gives
Yeah.
me chills. I mean, that's
Oh,
such an amazing, wonderful gift to have. And
well, when you say it gives you chills, I'm writing a book, and the book is what I was just going to say to you when you say it gives you chills. Welcome to my world. Because and that's the name of my book,
yeah,
because many
yeah.
people will say things to me and I'll say welcome to my world. So
So
I thought what a perfect.
can you whet our appetites a little bit and tell us a bit about the book or when it's going to
Oh
come
yes,
out, or is that something?
well I've got the title, I've got the ISPN number. The title is Welcome to My World, A Medium's Journey. And it is about me when I was growing up, just my journey on how things happen. And then what I am doing is I'm putting it out there and thanking in advance for people to send me their angel stories, because it's also about our angels and our guardian angels and how they help us. And when I say guardian angels, I also believe in Archangel Michael, Raphael, and those angels. It's just that I find it so much easier to say guardian angels rather than spirit guide.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
but that's
yeah.
that's what the book is going to be about, and I can see myself handing the book to somebody and saying, "Welcome to my world," because that is a saying that I've been saying for a long time.
And Carol, the image I just got is of all sorts of amazing angels dancing all around you as you write this book, as you share your story and your message. I mean, I can see it as clear as day. And I'm sure you see them and they're all around you all the time anyway,
Well,
but I see
well,
them too.
yes, but it's very nice that you said that and very timely, because I'm doing something on one of my Facebook pages. I'm not promoting it here. I'm just saying that
You go right
I
ahead. Promote it.
well, I decided I have 4 pages now, but the new one is Carol Matthews Psychic Medium, and so the people will know exactly, what it is. So, because I don't take it that everybody knows who Carol Matthews is. So I decided that what I would do is post 3 words every Monday morning. You go in and you look at the words, and like, when somebody asks you what the words are, of course you forget about them right away. But anyway, these words, what do you feel about them? And then I will go in the evening and I will do this. So this idea came to me when I was in bed with the flu. And I thought, okay, fine. So I got it all going, and then I thought, ooh, now I have to answer these. What am I going to do? I have to. And so I sat down in my living room, and it was very interesting because everything went quiet. And my words, I was doing it on my note, on my phone, and the words just came out. And that was the first week, and then the second week, because I think it's been going for 3 weeks now. And the response was amazing. And I'm thinking, that was not me. And I even said to the girl that sets it up for me, I said, Jessie, that was not me that wrote that.
Yeah.
So thank you for saying that, because again, when we have this, we don't really realize a lot, and then it's confirmed.
Right,
But
right.
that's what I'm feeling. There's a certain peace. So I know it's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Channeled angel energy. Oh, it's wonderful. So, Carol,
It
this
is.
is awesome and cool and great, and so I'm glad you told us all about that. But we have little time left, and so I want to shift gears, and you're going to tell us about the Chinese New Year, and I'm very excited to. I don't know very much about the Chinese New Year, but I hear a lot about it, and I'm so glad to be able to connect with someone who has some expertise on it, and you can let our viewers know what they can learn from the Chinese New Year.
Well, I believe in the Chinese New Year, and of course, you know yourself, Jeanette, when you are doing something like when I do the medium work, we like to do something else. And I'm a Sagittarian female, so I have a lot of stuff. So we are in now today. There's a super new moon, which is wonderful, and we are in the year of the sheep. We have just come through the year of the horse, and so what's happening now, sheep are very calm. And I believe that, and it seems to be that we are now, everything's been happening out there, politically, emotionally, weather, all of that. I believe that we are in the storm before the calm, the opposite to what
Oh,
it is, okay? So years ago, many, many, how this all happened, Buddha, he invited all the animals of his kingdom to come to him, and only 12 came. Well, that sounds very familiar. So
Mhm.
he named a year after each one, and each year has the traits of that animal. Okay, so the
Okay.
sheep, so the year of the horse, well, we know what that was all about. And you have to have the full birthday. So just to let you know, you are born a rooster. How
Cockle
about
doodle
that?
doo.
But you know what I get from that
Yeah.
is that you are in the perfect, and I'm not saying it because you're there, you are in the perfect profession because you are able to get up there and show people things.
Right.
Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Like people born in the year of the dog keeps its nose right down to the ground and it's very, very quiet, very faithful, but very, very quiet.
Right.
And
Right.
so you are in the good. You are very in a
Well,
good
I'm
position.
happy to hear that confirmation that I'm on the right path.
Oh, you definitely are. And it does change, like it goes every year. We have a new moon tonight, and so it's the first new moon after the full moon in January. Again, I like to keep it simple, but it's not always on the same day. I believe next year it's February the 6th. But it's going to be an interesting year. I feel it's a year where we can listen to our inner voice. We can take a deep breath. Now, it's not starting tomorrow, okay? You know what I mean? Things take
Right.
time to do. We are in the new year, but it's going to take some time. But we had quite a ride with the horse. Year of the horse was quite a ride. But
So you
I
said you feel
feel
like now we're like in the storm. Do you know like how long we're gonna be in the storm and what people can do to sort of ride the wave of the storm?
I believe when you ask me that, the very first thing I believe in affirmations of saying things, and I believe in every day when you get up and before you go to bed, you just affirm all is well in my world. And if we can keep affirming that, fix everything, but this is going to be like we've had the storms, and it's going to take some time, but I'm going to say around July, just what I'm feeling, things are going to start to settle down. And we hopefully will have more harmony in our lives. But again, it's within us. We have to find that harmony within ourselves.
And when we feel like we're in this storm, people talk to me about how they feel it physically, they feel it emotionally, they
Oh,
feel it
definitely.
spiritually. You feel kind of off kilter. Some people hear a ringing in their ears. I mean, there's
Hmm.
all these
That's
different
right.
things that seem to impact us.
Well, so many people have the empathy or they are empaths, which is another show. But they can feel. We do. We feel so much. So we're affected by what's going on out there. And people say, "Oh, everything's crazy in the world," and I say, "No, no, no. It's not the world. The world's beautiful. It's the people, right? The sky's
Yeah.
blue, the grass is green, and the snow is white." But it's the people and what we do, and we have to really, really step back. We have to be very intuitive, listen to our inner voice. And the thing with the sheep, with the year of the sheep, as you know, they gather. They always stick together. Now the horse, what does a horse do? It runs wildly
Gallop
through the field.
around, back and forth.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
All over the place, all over the place.
So I would
But
say that information is power. So if people can
oh,
understand the Chinese New Year, understand the chaos that's going on, at least you know what's happening. Sometimes you don't know what's happening, you just feel sort of powerless and,
mhm,
why am I tired all the time? Why is this happening? And if we know why it's happening, and we know that there's, as I always say, the light at the end of the tunnel, that you're able to ride
exactly,
that wave and learn from whatever experiences you're going through and know that it's going to be okay on the other end.
exactly. And what lessons have we learned from what has just been going on? That's what we have to look and within. And there's a saying, "What I'm looking for isn't out there; it's within me." And
Oh,
you have to start within yourself.
that is so true. So,
Oh
I mean, look,
yes.
that's a very powerful statement. What kind of advice would you give someone to trust themselves enough to do that? Because I think people do look externally. They look at what other people are doing and what other people's successes are, and sometimes focus on what they don't have instead of what they do have. What is the advice you would give someone to really let themselves look within first?
Well, I believe that the main thing to do, and I really do like Louise Hay and all of what she has said in her life, And it is just trust within yourself. You have to trust yourself, and everything is energy. So when you're going around thinking that everything is falling apart, you are going to attract people that are in that same space. So it's going to continue. But when you are going around and saying, I'm okay, you know that old saying, fake it till you make it,
Yeah.
really, really try it for a while. Look in the mirror and say, I am proud of you. You're not going to believe it when you first say it, but keep doing it, keep doing it. And then what you're going to attract are people that are proud to be with you.
Yeah,
So then we have,
it's interesting you should say that because I have had people, clients who I say, go into the bathroom, no one's going to see you, look into the mirror and say, I love you. They'll say, I can't do it, I can't do it. It's like, well, you know what? Go do it again. You hear about that rule of 21, you do something long enough, you actually start to believe it. And so then, eventually, they can actually look themselves in the mirror when they say, I love you. And then I add to that, I love you because everyone has something good. So
exactly.
find that good thing, find yourself, tell yourself, and eventually you'll start to believe it, you'll start to live it, you'll start to feel it.
I just like that. Something just came into my mind. I hope I can have time to tell you this. My grandson, he's at 28, 29. He just got married. And I was over at their place recently. And I said, so how's it going? And how's a happy couple and all that. And she looked at me, Jen looked at me, and she said, your grandson is very romantic. And I said, really? And she said, yes. So what they do every day, they do not go to sleep without saying to each other, I love you because. And there is a reason.
Oh,
It doesn't have to be a lot. I love you because you closed the door today. I love you because. And and I thought, you know what? You do that. I was so happy, of course. You do that, and your children are going to be doing the same thing. So it's just like, and I'm going to go back to the year of the sheep. You know, keep it together. That's my advice. Keep it together, and find something good. And some people get up in the morning and they say, "Oh, good God, morning." No, good morning, God.
yeah, yeah,
Because there are some people that wish that they could get up and say that.
yeah.
So
It's
walk in
those
gratitude.
things that we take for granted too. I mean, I'm really a fan of gratitude and finding something to be grateful. Like you woke up in the morning, you have something to be grateful for.
Oh, definitely.
And if you can start to envision all the good that might happen in the day instead of focusing on the assumption of all the things that are going to go wrong, it makes such a difference if you're, driving down the highway and there's all this traffic. Instead of being so frustrated because there's all this traffic, you can't get there fast enough. I'm here for a reason. I'm supposed to have a calm, slow, meditative drive wherever I'm going. It just goes that fast versus focusing so much on the negative or the downside.
And besides that, I'm driving a car. You
That's
know,
right.
I'm not out having to walk. Like
Right.
I'm fortunate. And those are the things. I remember my dad, I used to say to him, why? When he got sick, I said, why you, Dad? He said, why not? So,
Wow.
so true. But
Yeah.
walking in gratitude, and yes, we do have our bad hair days, where even we who tell people, I'm not going to say who preach, but who tell people, give this advice, guess what? We're human.
Yeah. I mean, I bet you might get this. Quite a bit I get because I use the phrase positivologist. People say,
Yes,
wow, it must be so amazing to never have any issues, to never have any challenges, to everything be wonderful and positive all the time. And I'm kind of looking up my shoulder like, who are you talking to? I have the same issues and challenges and problems that you do. Believe me, and
exactly.
I can go into that, that dark hole, but the difference is I go there and I acknowledge it, and then I stand right back up, and I said because I'm feeling good there. I don't
No
feel
doubt.
energized. I'm not going to get anything accomplished. I don't feel good, and I want to feel good if I stay in a place of negativity. So I acknowledge it, and then I'm like, okay, I'm headed for the light that I see is at the end of the tunnel.
Exactly. And words are so important. You hear so many people that say, "Oh, I always get a cold this time of year." Yeah, that's why you've got it. Or
Yep.
and I'm going to get a headache. I know the snow's coming. I'm going to get a headache. Yeah, you're going to get that headache because you're putting it out there.
You know, that's such a powerful statement, Carol. You remind me, I haven't thought about this for years, but when I was younger, I used to get a sore throat a lot. And then I would say, oh no, I know this is going to turn to strep throat. I got
Yes.
strep throat so many times when I was younger because I said that. I got strep throat so many times that eventually, when they gave me penicillin one time, I had a delayed allergic reaction to penicillin because I'd gotten it so much. And then this light bulb went off in my head about, I think I'm helping to fuel this. I'm telling the universe that my body I'm going to get strep throat. So I don't do that anymore. I haven't had strep throat since then. Now I've had bronchitis a couple times. I get a
Uh-huh.
cold, but I've never had strep throat. And whenever I get ill or sick, I use the environment and the energy with positivity instead of negativity. And it's absolutely amazing what a difference it makes. And everybody can do it. I always say the things I do, I'm not doing something anybody else can't do. Everybody can do it. We just have to make that decision.
That's right, exactly. And you remind me, there was a lady when I lived out west in BC, and she told me this story. She was on the ferry. She always had Christmas. She always had to do Christmas. And she was coming back over on the ferry from Vancouver. And she said, as she was getting off the ferry in her car, I don't want to do Christmas this year. I need a break. Well, it just so happened it was in front of my house on Salt Spring Island. She slammed into a tree with her truck, and she got a broken collarbone, and she didn't have to do Christmas. You know, like, so your words are so,
Yeah.
so important.
Right, and I also know a gentleman who said, "I need a break," and he broke his leg, and so
Exactly.
he got a long break from work. So we have, to, I mean, you know, the power we have that we don't always realize is astounding. When we do realize it, or if we pay attention to it, you know. So if
Yes.
we flip switch that and put the good and the positive out there, what we get back is magnificent.
And you know, sometimes you have to say, stop. That's what I do. When I start to get a negative thought, I'll go, stop. Like, I don't like to say, I'm tired. If you're
Right,
tired, go lay down. You
right,
know, I'll
right.
say, oh, it's been a long day. But it's been a day. Thank you. It's been a day. You
Yeah.
know, so if you're tired, go lay down. But if you wake up in the morning and say, oh, well, I have to tell you, this is so funny because when I was, long story short, when I came back from out west and I was really, really busy and I was on my way up to do a radio show, my very first radio show, actually. And I had been saying to my daughter for about the week before, because I'd done a lot in those 2 weeks getting back there. I said, I'm so tired, I feel like I've been hit by a truck. I walked out of Walmart after buying a tape to show, and I literally got hit by a truck.
Oh,
2001.
Carol.
Honest to God, I walked out and there was this guy. He couldn't see me for the sunshine. Well, that was a compliment right there. But anyway, I was walking and he hit me with his truck. So there I
So
was.
you
So,
were
you know,
reminded of the power of our words, our images, our feelings.
oh yeah.
You know,
I
can you
and I
imagine if the world as a whole used that positive energy to envision the world whole and healed and healthy and connected and not all the confusion and fighting and it's incredible. It's incredible when it happens, but if we did it more in a more concentrated effort with even more people, it would be amazing.
That's why I really like the affirmation, all is well in my world. And
All
then
is well.
I always end it with, and so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you. Yes.
And
And the more
Carol,
that we can say
that
it.
is a positive segue because we're almost out of time. But what I
Oh,
want to do, I know, can you believe how fast the hour? Well, I know how fast the hour goes because when we're talking on your show, I'm just like, I can't believe the time is gone already. But I want to turn it over to
awesome.
you as we wrap up, so you can tell people once again how they can reach you, how they can connect with you.
Okay. My website is carolmatthewsintuitive.com. While you're on there, I thank you for going down to the left-hand corner and clicking on my Facebook page, Carol Matthews Psychic Medium. I also do telephone and Skype readings. I do in person. And that's how you can get in touch with me. It's very, very simple.
Carol, you are a gift. You are a blessing. I'm so glad
Thank
to
you.
know you and call you friend, and I thank you so much for honoring me by being a guest on my show. So I appreciate it and you very much, and the
Thank you. It's
contribution
wonderful.
you make to the world.
Well, it's wonderful to sit across here, even though it's by technology, and look at you finally. So this is great.
Likewise, Carol.
Thank you.
So everybody out there in TV land, I want to thank you again for joining me on the Positivologist in the House. And remember, it's all about bliss. BLISS. Believe life is something special because it is, and so are you. And I encourage you to take a walk through the landscape of positivity. I'm sure you will appreciate and enjoy the view. Until the next time, I'll see you again right here on the Positivologist is in the House. Many blessings.